An officer's desperate pleas go unanswered. Inside two homes, a family
Just can't imagine. Just can't imagine.
murdered by one of their own.
It was definitely a shock.
Tonight, neighbors have questions.
I think everybody wonders that, what makes a person snap.
And a loss beyond understanding. A standoff we reported last night has become a murder-suicide investigation tonight in Chesapeake. Loved ones are grieving the loss of 6 neighbors, all from the same family.
The killer, a son and brother named Cameron Dooley. You can see him here in the bottom left corner of your screen. Police say he killed his grandmother, Doris, father, Todd, mother, Lori, brother, Landon, and sister, Brooke.
Well, tonight, the community held a vigil in their honor. 10 on Your Side's Liz Kilmer was there. Liz?
Chris, Nicole, the parking lot at Temple Baptist Church here was so packed that some people had to park in the grass. So many came out to honor and remember the Dooley family, loved ones, neighbors, police officers, even total strangers. Now, church leaders requested that members of the media stay off of the property so that people could mourn in private, mourn in peace. We, of course, respected those wishes. However, we were still able to talk to some people who felt compelled to tell us how special this family was.
Just shocking, and so I'm out here to pay my respects.
One among hundreds who came out to honor and remember a family taken so heinously.
What happened last night was very tragic. The whole neighborhood was on lockdown, but Deep Creek, we are a very tight, tough community.
A community now shaken after a horrific murder-suicide that left 6 members of the Dooley family shot to death. Starting at 6, friends, family, neighbors, and complete strangers came together for a vigil at Temple Baptist Church.
The pastor prayed, and another one read some scripture, and it was just a lot of hugging, a lot of talking, tears, of course.
Loved ones say the Dooleys attended the church and played a key role there. They were close-knit. People can't make sense that 26-year-old Cameron turned the gun on himself after fatally shooting 5 members of his family, including his father, Todd, a recently retired Chesapeake Marine police officer. His fellow officers came in numbers to remember one of their own.
They were part of a family here in Deep Creek, and I knew it was going to be really big out here tonight.
Bringing flowers and warm embraces. Those left behind don't understand why this happened. Together, they hope to find strength.
The love, the compassion, we will overcome this. We don't know why, and sometimes we're not supposed to know why.
Left with no answers and a reminder that life is short.
Hug your loved ones every day because you never know. Hug them.
Now, a candlelight vigil is also scheduled for the family. That will take place in the parking lot here this Saturday at 5 p.m. Chris, back to you.
All right, Liz, thanks very much. Now, let's take you through the timeline of this investigation. Chesapeake police say they went to Todd Dooley's home at 3:35 Wednesday afternoon. They found his son Landon shot to death there on Wildwood Road. At 7, investigators turned their attention to this home on George Washington Highway. They were looking for Cameron, and the standoff began.
He can
Cameron, come out with your hands up. Love you and care about you. They can help you through this.
Finally, at 2:10 this morning, police entered the home.
Oh my God.
Inside, they found 5 family members shot to death. They believe Cameron Dooley killed them all before officers arrived, then took his own life.
As police investigation continues, we are still working to get answers to key questions. We've learned Brooke was last in school on Monday, and Todd did not show up to work on Tuesday. We still don't know exactly when Cameron Dooley decided to kill them. We've also been working to learn more about all of the individual victims. Of course, the biggest question is why Cameron turned a gun on his family. Police have only told us it started as some type of domestic incident. Tonight, thousands of people have been reaching out to help the Dooley family.
Their loved ones have begun a GoFundMe account to help cover the cost of these funerals. As you can see, more than 100 people have decided to donate. They've raised more than $5,000 toward a goal of $50,000.
We'll keep you updated on any developments in this investigation. Look for new information on air and anytime on WAVY.com.
This Super Doppler 10 weather team is tracking a bit of rain in our area tonight. Chief Meteorologist Dawn Slater joins us now. Dawn, where is it falling already and when will it stop?
Well, it should be ending within the next hour or so. It's playing along pretty nicely with the expectations. It should move offshore by around 2 o'clock in the morning. So again, we're looking pretty good. Let's have a look where everything is. As far as the very, very light rain, only a few hundredths of an inch into parts of northeast North Carolina, and less than that moving across the Middle Peninsula and the eastern shore in the past hour. Over the Hampton Road cities, really not much rainfall whatsoever. A little bit over southern Chesapeake and into Virginia Beach, but enough to wet down the streets in a few spots. And it's ending soon, too, into eastern North Carolina. You can see this progressing eastward. This is over 2.5 hours time. So again, it's going back some time. And we did have a little bit more moderate rain south of Elizabeth City and on up to about Corolla. But again, that too is moving off real nicely. So we're looking good. It's moving out. And we're on the very edge of that rain. Well, that rain is going to continue to move on out. Could see a sprinkle tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be windy tomorrow during the day. And then we go all the way on out until Wednesday until we see any more rainfall into the area. So it's really quiet weather. It's also going to be warmer weather coming up in the next couple of days. We'll tell you about that too as the rain moves on away, moves out to sea. Still got some cloud cover hanging tough. Tell you what that's going to do too. That'll be in the forecast in a few minutes.
A body discovered in a burning house. Now Chesapeake police are trying to figure out how the fire started this afternoon. 10 on your side's Liz Palka has been following this story all day. And Liz, you've learned new details?
Nicole, police have not released any information on the victim, but we have learned from the homeowner and neighbors the victim was an elderly woman. She was about 70 years old and had only been living on Hoover Avenue for a few months. Crime scene tape surrounds a South Norfolk home Thursday evening. Chesapeake police investigating how a fire started inside this Hoover Avenue home and what happened to the person who died. Neighbors and witnesses say they could hear the victim crying for help as smoke billowed from the windows around noon.
I ran over there. They was already trying to kick her door down. She was in there. She was saying, "Help me." She's in there. Neighbors say it was an elderly woman trapped in the home. They fought to get to her, some frustrated because they say dispatchers were telling them not to enter the burning house.
I could have had time not to get in there for to save the lady, or try to save her, but they said, don't go in there, so I just didn't go in.
I ran back to put my shoes on, my boots on, so I could help come kick the door down. But by the time I came back with so much fire and so much smoke, couldn't get in there. Firefighters couldn't get in the home until they put out the flames. Once they made their way in, they found the victim. By the time the police came, they came and drug her out. She was gone. She was dead. That's when the police investigation began. Officers were at the scene for hours. An arson dog was brought in. Investigators carefully combed through what was left of the house as neighbors watched on, thinking of the victim. She had a little bird and everything. She used to bring us feathers, bring my kids feathers for the bird. From the bird. Yeah, she was a nice old lady. The homeowner told me she was at work when the fire started. She said the woman was only living with her temporarily as she got back on her feet, and she doesn't have any family in the area. We will update this story as soon as we know her name and how this fire started. I'm Liz Palka, 10 on your side.
2 people, including a child, are recovering from a fire in Newport News. Firefighters sent us this video from Town Square Drive. They say both got out safely but breathed in smoke. Medics took them to the hospital. Investigators say they kept the fire contained to the kitchen, but they had to condemn the home. They could not tell us how it started.
New information tonight in a story we've been following since April. Norfolk fire investigators say they know what caused an explosion at the Selden Arcade. They say it started when a contractor hit a power line, and as the cables failed and overheated, they say gases filled an electrical room and built up to explosive levels. The city discovered additional damage to the building last year. They are still trying to figure out the cost of the repairs.
New tonight, a jury has found a 3rd gang member guilty of a double murder in Newport News. It recommends 23-year-old Tyrone Batten spend the next 96 years in prison and pay a $50,000 fine. In 2008, Batten and 2 others from the 36th Street Bang Squad Bloods killed 16-year-old Barry Richardson and 15-year-old Keon Fleming. They accuse the teens of trespassing on their territory. Batten will be formally sentenced in March.
It'll be at least another month before Portsmouth Mayor Kenny Wright appears in court. He was supposed to be there tomorrow, but his case has been delayed. The mayor faces a felony charge of eluding police earlier this month. The sheriff says he tried to pull Wright over for an expired inspection sticker, but the mayor refused.
An update to the public corruption case against Norfolk City Treasurer Anthony Burfoot was in court today. Attorneys agreed to make potential jurors fill out a questionnaire due to all the publicity in the case. They also agreed to let a third party speak with witnesses in Burfoot's office because he can't have contact with them. Burfoot is out on bond. We expect the trial to start in May.
Governor Terry McAuliffe says tomorrow he'll announce a big deal about gun laws. We expect him to overturn one controversial measure and enact another. A month ago, Attorney General Mark Herring announced that some concealed carry permits were not valid in Virginia. Herring did not believe they stood up to the Commonwealth's safety standards. Well, McAuliffe is expected to announce tomorrow that that policy will be reversed, and Virginia will once again recognize those out-of-state concealed carry permits. In exchange, Republicans have agreed anyone with permanent protective orders for domestic violence will not be allowed to carry weapons. More than a dozen schools are taking steps toward full accreditation. Hear more the improvements taking place across Hampton roads.
D.C. is backing off more than $1 million worth of traffic tickets. An update to last night's report.
And a former city leader in Portsmouth says he's got a problem with the way things are being run. The move he is considering tonight.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 11 with Tom Shad, Nicole Livas, Chief Meteorologist Don Slater, and Bruce Slater's Sports.
Back now with news that former Portsmouth City Manager John Rowe is considering a run for mayor.
For now, he's being quiet about it, but he did tell us tonight he's not saying no to the possibility. More than 500 people turned out to hear Rowe speak at a meeting tonight hosted by the group People for Portsmouth. They say their focus is to educate voters ahead of the November election. Council ousted Rowe in April ahead of his planned resignation. Well, tonight, he talked about the perceived lack of transparency in city government.
I mean, if you were to take just a poll in here, I think the sense is that there's not much trust. And if there's not much trust, then yes, local government has failed.
Rowe says he needs to discuss the mayoral run with family before making a final decision. The filing deadline is June 14th.
New tonight, a founding member of the band Jefferson Airplane has died. Paul Campner was 74. He had a heart attack this week. Jefferson Airplane became popular in the 60s with hits such as Somebody to Love and White Rabbit.
All new tonight, more than a dozen local schools are one step closer to full accreditation. Virginia's Department of Education calls the status partially accredited. A school can be partially accredited for a number of reasons, including having students who don't normally do well. The state says schools on the list are working to fix the issues. It includes Hampton, Franklin, Newport News, Portsmouth, Southampton County, Suffolk, and Virginia Beach. If you want to see the full list, head to our website.
The Zika virus has spread to more than 11 states now, including Virginia. The World Health Organization says it will hold an emergency meeting Monday to decide whether this is an international emergency. Medical experts believe the mosquito-borne virus is linked to birth defects in South America. Travelers have been bringing it all over the world. In the meantime, health officials say they are working to develop a vaccine.
Doesn't mean we have a vaccine ready. That's going to take years, but the starting on the vaccine trial will be an accelerated process based on our prior experience with vaccines against similar viruses like West Nile.
For now, avoiding mosquitoes is the best way to avoid Zika. Doctors say insect repellents with DEET are considered safe.
Virginia lawmakers fought over school-required immunizations today. Some proposed doing away with the exemptions for religious and medical reasons, but the bill didn't make it far. A group of parents in Virginia Beach says they oppose the bill. They believe that's the reason it was pulled. Delegates say they want more information.
Just saying that, you know, religiously you cannot make a choice for your child as a parent. In my mind, the first thing I thought of was that's unconstitutional.
I asked to strike the bill as long as it could be sent to the Joint Commission on Healthcare to be discussed and studied further.
Lawmakers say the medical community approached them about the bill. Health experts said the rise in long dormant diseases concerns them.
Now, your Super Doppler 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
Little warm up on the way.
Yeah, we're hoping we can squeeze some sunny days out of the end of January.
Yeah, I think we will. We'll squeeze some really, really nice days, too, especially on the weekend. How's that?
Yeah,
that's great.
We're looking pretty good for the weekend. Right now, not looking so good. We've got some rainfall out there. It's not all that bad. It's going to end in the next couple of hours. I want to show you what's going on at Super Doppler 10 Live. North Carolina, you've seen the streets wet down a little bit. Just a few hundredths of an inch of rainfall. It's been into Chesapeake and Virginia Beach a little bit, and the Eastern Shore. But for most of us, not so much. And really, even the Eastern Shore hasn't lasted all that long. And again, mostly just a sprinkle or two. And we move to the Eastern North Carolina. Yeah, we've had some rainfall here, but still, even with all this rain over the past several hours, it's been just a few hundredths of an inch, and that was exactly what we expected out of this situation. And it's going to continue to move eastward and move on off. We're going to see a decent day coming up for tomorrow. Here's where things are at midnight. 45 minutes from now, it's got a little farther to the southeast, and it moves on off real nicely. It's going to be a breezy day tomorrow. 10 to 15 to start the day. That's a little breezy for the first thing in the morning, and then we work our way on through the day. 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. All the forecast models have a little bit of a punch of wind dropping on through by around 3 o'clock, and maybe a sprinkle with it, but it's not going to wash out our day, quite obviously. The rest of the forecast models look something like this, with just a sprinkle moving on through in the middle of the afternoon. 15, 20 mile an hour winds by the end of the day. And then those winds tend to drop off overnight and into Saturday morning, become more southwesterly. Here's where things are for the day on Saturday, 5-10, 10 mile an hour winds at the end of the day. Lots of sunshine for the weekend. It'll warm up a little bit more coming up for the day on Saturday with that southwest breeze by the end of the day on Saturday night. Really, at midnight, it'll really warm things on up for Sunday. And speaking of that, let's go out further in time, show you what's going on from midnight all the way to the middle of next week, show you what's going on here. And we've got a little bit of cloud cover, not too much more than that. A rainfall kind of hitting at us a little bit, and then finally does hit us by noon on Wednesday with some scattered showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder, as warm as it's going to be for the day coming up on Wednesday. Once we hit Sunday, we're going to warm into the 60s and pretty much stay there into the low to mid 60s all the way into the middle of the week. Here's what's been going on over the past couple of hours on our tower cam. 39, 42, 43, 44 with the rainfall that we had. It's not cold enough to snow into the area right now. It's 37, getting a little closer, though, in Williamsburg. You're going to be around 35, 36 usually for there to be snow. And we had a little hint at a little bit of sleet mixed in with a couple of sprinkles in Williamsburg around 9 o'clock, but that's pretty well gone. Upper 30s to around 44, already cooling off in Wakefield with 36 degrees. Wider view of things. It's going to get a little chilly overnight. It'll drop on down into the 30s. As far as 24-hour rain totals, where are they? Well, obviously northeast North Carolina, 5 100s in Manteo, 2 100s in Elizabeth City, and I think that 5 100s is about as big as we're going to get out of that rainfall, and that'll move on offshore here, as I showed you in the next couple of hours. And for most of the area, mostly cloudy at midnight, but clearing gradually. We'll drop on down to about 36. It'll be 32 inland. Be a breezy day coming up for tomorrow, and there's that isolated sprinkle coming up at 3 o'clock or so in the afternoon for the day tomorrow, and the skies clear off again during the overnight hours and into the day on Saturday. 51, so 49 tomorrow, 51, and then wahoo, 63, 64, remaining into the low to mid 60s all the way on into Wednesday. So we're looking pretty good. A little bit better tomorrow, better than that Saturday, and terrific once we hit Sunday.
Wahoo.
Wahoo. We like that.
Yes, we do.
Especially the people at UVA like that. Wahoos.
A city leader is easing up on traffic tickets for people caught up in a major storm.
The reason she is backing off the violations tonight. People in Moscow are watching for a winter weather hazard, icicles. Snow is melting in Russia's capital. As temperatures have started rising, icicles have started falling. City officials have blocked off some of the sidewalks to protect pedestrians. Mayor of D.C. says she will void nearly 3,000 parking tickets.
That's good news to a lot of people. We reported parking attendants ticketed drivers who left their vehicles on emergency routes during the blizzard last week. Mayor Muriel Bowser says the ticket dismissal is a small way the city can help people recover from the snow. The city would have made more than $1 million on those tickets.
Old Dominion looks to get back on the winning track, opening a Florida road trip. And guess who stole the show again? That guy, Trey Freeman. Who else? The Sports Wrap is next. Old Dominion fans, thank goodness for Trey Freeman. The Kellum High School graduate who sent the Monarchs to the NIT Final Four continues to rule Conference USA again. I'm Bruce Rader. Old Dominion evened its conference record at 4-4 tonight as Trey Freeman surpassed the 1,000-point mark as the Monarchs crushed Florida Atlantic 78-66. Old Dominion never trailed and led by as many as 12 points in the first half. But this team this year is all about Trey Freeman. The kid has only been at ODU for 2 seasons. He transferred from Campbell and has already scored over 1,000 points. He had 28 tonight and has scored at least that many in 5 straight games. He had 37 on Saturday against Marshall, and he is the leading scorer in Conference USA. I've been covering ODU basketball for almost 40 years, and this is one of the most impressive scoring seasons I have ever seen. ODU over Florida Atlantic tonight, 78-66. The Monarchs head to Miami for a game Saturday at Florida International. William & Mary, one of the great three-point shooting teams in the nation this year, on the road tonight against Delaware. Off the turnover, it's Terry Tarpey with the dunk and the foul, 16 points for Tarpey. And then it's David Cone. Watch him as he maneuvers through traffic and gets the tough layup. He had a game-high 23 points. But once again, the attention goes to sharpshooter Connor Birchfield. 18 points, all from three-point range. A school-tying record tonight, 16 threes and 28 assists for the Tribe, who blow out Delaware 94-79. ODU Lady Monarchs at home against Florida Atlantic. It was a rout in Norfolk. Sophomore Kiana Brown from Williamsburg. Nice spin and finishes with the layup. At one point, the Lady Monarchs went on a 29-0 run. Jenny Sims, the star of the team, nice pass to EJ Ejimba. Lady Monarchs cruising. Jenny Sims led the way with 20 points. Look at the nice shooting touch. Destiny Young also had 18. A big night for the Lady Monarchs, a 40-point win over Florida Atlantic. Norfolk State's assistant men's basketball coach, Larry Vickers, is not only dealing with his regular job, but is now the head coach of the Spartans women's team as well. Norfolk State Athletic Director Marty Miller gave Vickers the double duty after the women lost 17 games in a row. And Coach Vickers, well, he's taken on the challenge with a smile.
Might have been about 2 weeks ago, and Mr. Miller just walked past me, and he just asked me, could I coach women, pretty much. And at first I kind of laughed it off. I didn't think he was serious by any means. And then so when he asked me, could I do it, I jumped on it.
There is a lot more to the story about the personable Coach Vickers, and to see it, just go to WAVY.com and click on sports.
All right, we're going to be right underneath.
A little bit of rain, but it's moving on off, which is good news. And again, it's mainly for North Carolina. Tomorrow will be rather breezy, 49 degrees. Nice day on Saturday, 51. Really nice day on Sunday.
All right, Wavy News 10 today begins at 4:30 a.m.
WAVY.com 24/7.